PS5 Pro controller manufacturers,
Happy learned how to putt.
might be in a pinch of trouble here, might have a major competitor stepping into the arena. This is catastrophically big news in the controller world, much bigger than Sony announcing its first ever first-party controller, the DualSense Edge. It's got 2 rear buttons, for God's sake, but enough said there. It will still be getting an incredibly comprehensive in-depth review right here at Gamer Heaven, as are these controllers, and the new Victrix Gambit for PS5, and the 8-bit Doe lineup, and a bunch of other gamepads that are currently either on pre-order if they're not dropped yet. But I had to quickly fire off a video because this has the potential to be, by far, by a good margin, the best Pro controller for PS5. I have always praised Razer controllers for their face buttons. They use mecha tactile, marketing gimmick aside. They're mechanical switches, like you'd have in a mechanical keyboard or mouse. Those last longer than membrane switches as they're rated for millions of clicks. They're also faster and more accurate to actuate. But all the Razer controllers for Xbox, such as the Wolverine Ultimate and Tournament, are wired because Microsoft uses what's called Xbox Wireless, which is a dedicated RF frequency, not 2.4 gigahertz, not 5 gigahertz, not Bluetooth. It is their own specific proprietary technology, so you don't get interference with other wireless devices in your room. Separate video coming on this topic in the near future. But pending licensing, this controller is going to be wireless. I say pending licensing, the fine print's right here. Wolverine V2 Pro is developed under official licensing program for PlayStation and will work with PS5 subject to Sony Interactive Entertainment's final product approval. Let me clarify, if this stamp and sigil is here and this product is already available for pre-order, it would be shipping December 31st, $250 price tag. Wow, that's expensive. Razer didn't just plaster this on their landing page on their website without entering some kind of agreement or contract with Sony. I'm sure it is still pending final approval or underwriting, if you will. Probably green-lighted. It's probably a go-ahead. There's probably going to be no issues for it working wirelessly on the PS5. Here's why this is going to be a phenomenal controller. You're going to have Hyperspeed wireless. Yep, another marketing gimmick name. You know, knuckle duster, tomahawks, split your cousin's knee. Hyperspeed is the same wireless technology that Razer uses in their wireless mice. For example, my daily driver has been the Viper Ultimate for years since it came out. Review linked in the description below. But you're going to have the option to go Bluetooth on the PS5 or PC, but also use an included 2.4 gigahertz dongle, which will enable Hyperspeed wireless, which is so goddamned fast. Razer's done a bunch of R&D, research and development, a bunch of black magic trickery to make their wireless technology virtually as fast as wired. They actually claim it as faster than a wired connection. I can't wrap my noggin around that. That doesn't seem possible to me. We all live on the same flat earth with no gravity. I can't imagine wireless being faster than wired. I can fathom it being the exact same speed though, which is pretty much what you're getting with Hyperspeed wireless, meaning no lag, no delay, no delag, if you've been around the channel a while, because in the past, that has been a major problem plaguing wireless gaming peripherals, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, meaning when you hit a button, it takes several milliseconds or even seconds for your character to move on screen. Wireless technology is advanced to the point where that's really not the case anymore. And this is the first time that Hyperspeed wireless has been featured on a controller, and it does read from all the fine print, this is going to work on PS5 as well. You're going to use that included 2.4 gigahertz dongle, and you are going to get that Hyperspeed wireless connection between your controller and the console. If that is the case, that is a game changer because you're no longer using Bluetooth like every other single wireless controller on the market. You're using Hyperspeed. Stupid name aside, it is not only a more consistent, but also a noticeably faster connection. Also, you're getting those mechanical buttons that I talked about earlier. They are rated for 3 million clicks, or tap life cycle as they call them. Plus, you're also getting trigger stops. That's always a joy, but nothing out of the ordinary. But one of the features I love that Razer packs on their controllers is an extra set of bumper buttons up here. So you have 6 additional buttons. You have the 4 rear buttons, which are an interesting design. They look like they'd be dog-ass uncomfortable, but ergonomically, they're really not terrible. I will say in long gaming sessions, for me, anything over 3 hours, I do get a lot of fatigue on my middle knuckle up here, just because your hands have to be extended out to cover the buttons. You're also getting an 8-way micro switch D-pad, so that is 8 mechanical switches in here, which is super rapid when you're trying to do roll-offs or bust-off combos in a fighting game. And of course, you have the magnetized swappable thumbsticks. Always a joy. This is so stupid. The fact that they try and classify domed or concave sticks as offensive or defensive, that has absolutely nothing to do with your playstyle whatsoever. It's total personal preference. That is craziness. And of course, you have an application or software suite to control the controller. Unfortunately, this is mobile based. I could barely get the words out without, regurgitating my lunch here. You can download it on the Apple Store or Google Play Store. If I'm using it on PC, please tell me I can just use my existing Razer Chroma app that controls all my other Razer peripherals. And of course, you are going to have their Chroma, another marketing name, for their RGB. And this is a nice chart breaking down the previous lineup of the Wolverine V2 and the Wolverine V2 Chroma, both controllers I have reviewed on this channel, along with the latest and greatest in the lineup, the V2 Pro. Notice they don't put / fixed cable, but any wireless controller can go wired in an instant by plugging in a USB-C cable. And this clarifies some confusion that I had, I guess. It seems as if the trigger stops are not the existing trigger stops that we have on Razer controllers currently. It is going to be more like a mouse click when you turn them on, where you get literally a mouse click, but then when you turn them off, you have that full linear squeeze. That's awesome. We've seen that with the Scuf Instinct Pro and the Hex Gaming Xbox controller I reviewed recently. Now, there are a couple concerns. We're only getting a 1-year warranty, which isn't terrible, but I'd like to see at least a 2 or 3-year warranty. But the biggest issue here is that they're still going with physical potentiometer thumbstick modules as opposed to Hall effect sensors that use braking connectivity of magnets to sense the position of your thumbsticks, making it to where you can never get stick drift, at least not in your lifetime. It seems to me in this day and age that premium custom and pro controllers should be getting away from the dead technology we've been using for decades with these potentiometer thumbstick modules that have a huge failure rate and a very short lifespan and are not very accurate, smooth, or a joy to use either. And magnetic Hall effect modules is definitely the next step for all controllers across the board. That is going to be the next standard, but it is going to take time. And eventually, not having to discard your controllers constantly is going to be the new standard. 3 aspects or features of this controller that I'm very excited about, and 3 things that I'm not really excited about. So kind of preemptive pros and cons before the controller even comes out, just by what we know thus far. The swappable thumbstick caps look like the included ones in virtually every other Wolverine controller, which is a good thing because they are generally very wide and use pretty grippy rubber or silicone and are lauded as being pretty accurate. 2, the Hyperspeed wireless. Even if that's only usable on the PC, that's cool, but if it's usable on the PS5 as well, that is a game changer because it will be the fastest wireless controller currently. Next up, the rear button design of the Wolverine lineup is okay. It's not terrible, but I really do like those 2 extra bumpers. Having an additional 6 buttons as opposed to 2 or 4 allows you to bind more shit in game to keep your fingers on the thumbsticks. Cool. Also, Razer has held the crown in my book. They have remained undefeated when it comes to face or action buttons because of their mecha tactile, meaning their mechanical switches. They really do feel amazing and they're freakishly durable. Some of the things I'm not necessarily excited about. If this controller could retail for $199.99, $200 US, I think it would be a little bit more competitive. Granted, I think this controller is still going to sell well. $250 is a hefty price point when you consider that the digital only PS5 is $400. And then on top of that, you consider that there's only a 1-year warranty with this controller, so you have the potential to buy a $250 chunk of plastic that stops working for you after 1 year. That is a really hard pill to swallow for most gamers. But if we're looking at the controllers that are coming out in the near future with similar features for the PS5 that are wireless, we're looking at the DualSense Edge, which is a $200 controller. We're looking at the Victrix Gambit BFG, or by fucking golly, that's a $250 controller, so the same exact price as this. And then if you've been around the channel a while, you've seen me test DualSense controllers for the PS5 from AIM, Scuf, Battle Beaver, Hex, Megamods. You're fully aware that all those custom sites that have a builder on their site can easily get into the $250 or $350 range. So I do think this controller is priced competitively, but that doesn't mean that it's priced well. That just means that it's also freakishly expensive. I'd like the price cut $50 and an additional year on the warranty. I know I'm asking for a lot here, Razer, but hey, I'm an ambitious consumer. I apologize. I'm just looking out for the Stallions and Stallionettes. This is extremely exciting news. I am very excited to test this controller. I'm going to lock in a pre-order if you'll excuse me. Enjoyed the video. Liking it helps it to get seen by more gamers. This information will reach and assist them as well, which in turn helps me grow this little channel, which I do greatly appreciate. Subscribe for more content like this. I cover news in the gaming community and industry, tutorials helping you get set up streaming and YouTubing, as well as honest gaming product reviews, keyboards, mice, headsets, controllers, mics, chairs, etc. There are some hefty exclusive discount codes found only in the description of my videos and only for the audience here at Gamer Heaven. I have links to all my other platforms and socials in the description below. To get in touch with myself and the Stallions and stallionettes of gamer heaven, join the community Discord, and check me out at twitch.tv where I go live every other leap year on a blue moon if it falls into an odd calendar number, and my pH balance is on point. Just kidding. Starting June, I'm going to be live streaming a lot. Thanks for watching. This has been AK40 Kevin hosting Gamer Heaven, and I'll see you tomorrow because I upload daily. All the time. 60% of the time. Sometimes. Most of the time. Peace.